Welcome to another edition of The Way I See It with your host, Ralph Williams. And now, without further ado, Ralph Williams.
And good evening and welcome to another edition of The Way I See It. My name is Ralph Williams. We're here every Monday night at 7 p.m. And tonight we're in the DJ Fun Studios. In Studios 808, DJ Fun Studios. Call DJ Fun today, 412-545-4317. Call for all of your DJ needs. If you need a DJ for a party, wedding, or any kind of an activity or any kind of event, give DJ Fun a call, 412-545-4317. DJ Fun will not take you to the cleaners like the other DJs in this town. All right, we have a lot to talk about tonight. First, I want to talk, we're going to do our Chinese wisdom. If you live out of your imagination, you live out of your potential. And that is tonight's Chinese wisdom. Tonight here on The Way I See It. I have a disturbing report that I received. And not only do I have a disturbing report, I also got an opportunity to speak to the owner of a South Side establishment, and I had the privilege of speaking with him this morning, Rich Kupka of Kupka's Cafe. It seems that Rich Kupka went on Fox News, and there was a report done about the crime on the South Side of Pittsburgh, and that Pittsburgh is on the downfall. Now, apparently, according to the sources I have, they told me, even though I spoke to Rich himself, I got this from some other sources of mine. And that's why tonight's show is going to be epic again. Because not only am I angry at the city administration, I'm disappointed in them. Because I'm unhappy about the fact that what they had to say to this guy after the report. But first, we're going to get into our blast segment. And tonight, our blast segment, we start off with the church associates. Once again, the church associates are involved in another situation with an apartment building that they own. First, it was an elevator problem, and now it is a mice problem. All right, the building over on LaTorch Street over there in Brighton Heights, it's the Riverview Towers Apartments, okay, and it's owned by the church associates who were involved in a situation out in Penn Hills with another building that has an elevator problem, okay? When is the county health department and the county administration going to find building inspector, somebody go after these people for this? Now, this is in the city of Pittsburgh, so now we have to look at the city to go after them, okay? And now they keep saying that according to their side of the story, they have met all health department needs as far as combating the mice, which, of course, I find very difficult to believe at all, okay? Because if anybody has any sense of a brain, they would understand that you cannot just patch meal this mice problem. This lady said that her daughter had to bring over 13 traps to deal with this mice. And they keep saying that they sent in an exterminator. Does it look like they're sending an exterminator? No. That's why I'm blasting you tonight, church associates. Shame on you. That's the way I see it. Next, the MV Realty. MV Realty continues to run their little scam, but now it's stopped. Okay, I'm going to give Josh Shapiro credit because before he became governor, he put a stop to it. Him in this state of Pennsylvania and several other states have decided to start stepping up with MV Realty. But MV Realty now, according to their side of the story on this, was people signed their contracts because they were desperate, needed money, and decided to sign the contract in order to get money because they desperately needed it. So they put a second mortgage on their home. But MV Realty decided to put their homes up for sale and collect the money out of it right there and then, instead of waiting for them to make the payments that they agreed to sign. Well, now the Attorney General has gone after them. I'm blasting you tonight, MV Realty, for continuing to continue to operate like this. That is the way I see it tonight. Next, Uber and Lyft. You know something? Uber and Lyft, you two, I brought this to the attention of everybody months and months ago on one of my shows when a woman was raped by a Lyft driver. And when they tried to get a hold of Lyft, they couldn't get nobody on the telephone. They couldn't get anybody on the phone. They couldn't get anybody to return emails. They finally had to go get an attorney to finally get something done, and they did. They finally got a hold of Lyft in regards to this situation with that woman getting raped. That happened a few years back, all right? But what I'm saying is Lyft and Uber don't care about anything but the money. And now they're ripping off their drivers, and their drivers were on strike this past weekend. And I'm going to tell you something about Lyft and Uber. Both of you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You don't keep your drivers, you do not keep them safe. And then on top of that, you expect to then rip them off of their money. Their money. How would you like if somebody ripped you off? Okay? Don't do this to people. That's the way I see it tonight about Lyft and Uber. Next, Norfolk Southern. Norfolk Southern, I'm finally blasting you tonight once again because now you're playing games with these people who are looking for their money back. And then on top of that, you poisoned the fish in the creek. All right? Why did you poison the fish in the creek? Okay? You knew what was going on. People were telling me that the tracks should have been fixed a long time ago in East Palestine, Ohio. And now I'm hearing that the tracks were a problem. Then there was a breakage problem. The maintenance claims they looked it over. Well, if you looked it over so much, okay, why in the world did why did this happen, Norfolk Southern? You know, you got egg on your face once again just because you got to pay all these people back, and then you're playing games with these folks as well because some of these people don't want to go back to their homes because they haven't been paid yet by Norfolk Southern, and now they have to get out of the hotel, and the hotel's waiting for their money. So Norfolk Southern, get your wallet out because you're going to have to pay a lot of money, and that is the way I see it tonight with Norfolk Southern. Next, Laurel Highlands School District. You know, the superintendent should resign. Laurel Highlands School District has 2 employees. They have a teacher who has done some inappropriate things with a student. All right. Then they had an assistant coach who was involved in drugs. Laurel Highlands School District, don't you screen your people. Don't you screen these people when you hire them, or you just hiring them just to hire them. What are you doing? All right, that's unacceptable. Twice in 1 week, the same. Something happened with a teacher and a coach. You know what? If I live in the Laurel Highlands School District, I don't know if I want to send my kid there. That's the way I see it tonight. Next, the man who had inappropriate behavior with a 4-year-old. You know what? I keep saying this and I'll say it again. The pedophiles, you guys have to go. Okay? It's terrible as to how you conduct yourselves. It's a shame that people do this stuff. I'm blasting you tonight because it's unfair and you should have never did it. And that's the way I see it tonight. All right. Our bonehead segment tonight. First, we're going to go to comments. Cliff says, Uber and Lyft always ripped off drivers, but Yellow Cab did the same thing. Yeah, Yellow Cab did do that at times. I know I was a cab driver, so I understand what you're saying, Cliff. And thank you for watching the program, and thank you, as always, for your comment. Bonehead segment tonight. You know, these drivers out here are really getting on my nerves. And I went out yesterday, and it's getting really out of control here. People jumping in front of you with no turn signal, speeding, in and out of lanes. What a bunch of boneheads. But the biggest boneheads are the ones that keep crashing into these buildings. Ones that keep not only crashing in these buildings, but getting into accidents because they're on a cell phone all the time. That's a boneheaded move. Or because they're drunk. That's a boneheaded move. And I can just imagine what last night was like. And that's tonight's boneheaded segment because, believe it or not, this week we really didn't have a lot of boneheaded things that went on other than some other stuff with Southwest Airlines and their boneheaded moves have caused a situation, okay, for them to have to go in front of Congress and talk. That's a boneheaded situation from what happened back during the holidays. I'm surprised at Southwest Airlines. That tonight's the way I see it on that as well. Cliff also says, but that wasn't the driver's fault either. The taxi industry used to have the drivers spend so much on medallions. It was a big story in NYC COVID. That's William. Thank you, William, once again for being a steady watcher and commenting on the situation. Yes, here in Pittsburgh, a cab driver has to pay a lease, pay for gas, and the insurance is included and everything. But the lease is so high, excuse me, that you have to work out there for many hours to make your lease. But now you can't because there's a state law permitting you to only work so many hours in a day, which of course is brought on by tractor trailer drivers who were spending 18 hours on the road and crashing everywhere. All right. Life story tonight. Went to Walmart in the Pittsburgh Mills during the week. And, I figured I'd switch up a little bit. Went to the moon, had issues with the scooters. Go to one in Robinson, have issues with it's a dirty store. And then you go in there and the employees are nasty. Then you get up to the cashier line. You got to wait in line for 6 hours. Okay. Then you go to West Mifflin, same thing. So I figure I'll give the Mills a chance, the Pittsburgh Mills. Okay. Because the Pittsburgh Mills, all right, I went there because I figure, you know what? I've been in the Mills before. I've never had a problem here. Go to that Walmart. Employees are rude. I did get a scooter, and it was one of the newer ones, the nicer ones. I was able to ride around and get everything I needed and not break down every 5 minutes like the one out in Moon. Okay? The only difference is when I go to the one out in Moon, people come up to me and say, like the show, the way I see it. And I didn't have any of that out there. Okay? So I don't know if anyone in the Alakiski Valley really watches this program, but that's fine. But what I'm saying is that happened as well. Cliff says he lives in Shady Side. Everything is expensive. Oh, we know that. I know that as well. I've known that for a long time. Thanks for letting me know, Cliff. Williams says, thanks for the shout out, Mr. W. I'm a loyal listener. We need more old school broadcasters who say it like it is. Yes, indeed, you do. It's hard to say it like it is anymore because nobody wants to hear it. All right, so I go to this Walmart in the Mills, and I got ignorant, rude customers. I had a guy. I was trying to get my fishing license, and I says, is anybody working here? There was nobody at the counter. So what does he say to me? No, I'm not working. And walks right by me. So the lady who waited on me for the fishing license was a very nice lady. Okay, I'll give him that. But the rest of the help, forget it. Then, I'm in a scooter, so I had some issues putting some stuff up on the putting some stuff up onto the belt, to ring it up. And when I was able to get it up there finally, she wouldn't come around and help me. She said she's not allowed to leave her register without somebody being there. So we had that issue. Okay. So then we leave. We go, we leave from Walmart. Then we had to go inbound on 28, of course. We got that knuckleheaded situation going on with the construction there. But fortunately for me, I was able to get through it quite adequately. So that was great on that. Then I took my mother and my wife and we went and got our wills done this week, as you know. And I want to recommend this to everybody. There's two things I want to recommend to everybody that you need to have. If you're a renter, you definitely need to have renter's insurance. If you don't, if you've heard the stories about the Roosevelt here in Pittsburgh, okay, the HUD owns the building. The owners are not cooperating with the tenants to pay for, hotel expenses because of a fire there. They probably didn't even evict the tenant, okay, because it's very difficult from what I'm told, but I think it's a bunch of malarkey or a bunch of baloney, as they say, that HUD can't evict some of these tenants for some of this stuff without a lot of nonsense, which I find very difficult to believe, okay? But anyway, they probably didn't evict the tenant, which, of course, is no surprise to me at all, right? But anyway, so now I blasted HUD for what they've done the last about 2 weeks ago, and I've blasted the Roosevelt's management for what they've done. Okay, but if those folks would have had renter's insurance, they wouldn't have any issues. Okay, you need to go out and get it today, and it doesn't cost that much money. Okay, go get it today. Renter's insurance. If you rent an apartment or a house, don't trust your landlord. I'm telling you, don't trust them. Okay? Because they're not to be trusted. They're only in it for the money. And go get a will done. Because I'm going to tell you what, if you have kids and you don't want them to be fighting and having World War III and having to go through the state, you have to go get a lawyer, you have to go have this estate stuff going on and all this other jazz. Go get a will. It's worth the money to go get one. All right? And there's some agencies in town do them for free. There's churches that have lawyers that will do wills for free. Okay? So check out a couple agencies. Call maybe like the 211, the United Way, see if they can help you with something. There are agencies out there that will do wills for free. All right? Or at a discount. Okay? So go get a will done, because I'm telling you, if you don't, you're going to have major problems. Okay? All right. Next. Took a nice ride out to Butler this yesterday to Clearview Mall. Have not had an opportunity to eat at a Ponderosa because there's no one around here handy, but found one at the Clearview Mall. And I want to thank a Facebook friend of mine for letting me know about what was going on, because she went out there with her boyfriend and her child. They went out to Ponderosa to eat. So I figured, why don't we go out on Sunday and have a great drive? And it was a good drive, except for some of the boneheads driving out there. That's about it. But we had a good drive. The food was good. The only problem I had was it took forever to get our steak and our baked potato. It took a long time. And I was like, how long can it take to make a steak? Okay. I don't know what their thinking was there, but it seems like they didn't have their act together with the steak and potatoes, because I think they were more worried about the buffet. And I didn't see too many people buying steak there, so I'm assuming they were only there for the buffet. All right, so, that's fine too as well. Last Tuesday, I spoke at City Council. Okay. And what I had to say was what I've been saying on this program for months. I think the city of Pittsburgh needs to call in the National Guard, state police, FBI, gang task forces, and get them in here and just sweep and clean the streets up. So guess what I get accused of at City Council by another person speaking? I get accused of being a racist, because according to them, the statement that I made was racist. I said to clean up all of the neighborhoods. I didn't make no emphasis on anything. And I'm a racist. Then I have my show on a TV station here in Pittsburgh. The Sports Corner show, and this one, the way I see it, is on PCTV, which is a public access community channel here in Pittsburgh. All right? And their desperate need for funding. And I was talking to City Council about that. And I also suggested that their youth participate in their youth training program to get them off the streets. I got criticized for that, because if somebody goes to a public access cable TV channel, and according to this guy, who I think his elevator hasn't gotten off the ground yet, or a few short candy bars short of chocolate, okay, tells me that the best thing they could get is a gaff. Really? Gaffs don't make that much money, or make money. TV is an expensive business. Okay? But at least it gets them off the streets. And that's all I was trying to do. And you know what's funny? I don't like that. This is why Pittsburgh is what Pittsburgh is. And you want to know why Pittsburgh is what Pittsburgh is? They are what they are because of people like this guy. His name was Devin. Okay? He gets up there and he tries to accuse me of saying, and again, you misinterpreted what I said because you didn't listen. Because you have selective hearing and you only want to hear what you think is right. And this is the kind of thinking as to why Pittsburgh is what it is now. Okay? So here we are. I have this guy named Devin calling me a racist. Okay? All because I suggested, and I didn't say it, I said all city neighborhoods, including mine. I didn't say, Devin, that it was only yours or whatever neighborhoods you think I was talking about. I said all. All right. In case you're not aware, Devin, there's crime everywhere, not just in whatever community you live in or you think I know that there it is. It just so happens that most of the crime happens in one or two certain communities. That's not my fault. But you don't want to hear what I had to say because you didn't want to hear it like it was. Too bad, Devin. Too bad. And guess what? I'm going to be speaking again and again and again because like Rich Kupka said of Kupka's Cafe, we have to continue to go speak out because if we don't, nothing's going to get done. And that is the way I see it tonight about my life story. Now we're going to get into this thing with Rich Kupka, who I salute, by the way. And I want to give him a round of applause because finally somebody who has the balls, the guts or a backbone, however you want to put it, to finally step up and say something. Yeah, Pittsburgh is going down the toilet because, you know why Pittsburgh's going down the toilet? Because of crime. Okay? Crime. Mayor Gainey, you knew what you were getting yourself into, and you didn't do anything about it before you got started. And now you're walking around here with a bunch of excuses. And somebody at the community meeting on Saturday asked you about Schumann Center, and you gave them an attitude. Oh, that's not my problem. The county's on that. What? The crime's happening in your city. And I just gave city council some ideas. If you have Comcast cable in the city of Pittsburgh, tune in to last Tuesday's meeting. I spoke on Zoom. Okay? And I gave them some ideas. How about that Highland Drive VA property they have up there with all them buildings up there? The county, the state. I just sent a Twitter to Josh Shapiro. I want to know why he's not involved in this. And why we're not getting, instead he's worrying about the Eagles in the Super Bowl yesterday. Okay? This is what the problem is today. We don't worry about these issues that are pertinent about juveniles out here shooting each other and getting put back out on the street the next day because the judges say there's no room. There's 400 beds down the county jail, Judge. Put them in there. 400 beds. Okay? You have a penitentiary over in Brighton Heights that's used for the mayor of Kingstown. When the mayor of Kingstown's not there, how about taking a portion of the building and using it for juveniles? How about taking that property you got up in Highland Drive, VA, that you purchased from the federal government in 2017 for $1, and it's been sitting up there forever and ever and ever, and you haven't done anything with it, and you had $400,000 that the last administration was supposed to use, and you took it and used it for something else, this administration. Okay? You could have took one of those buildings, retrofitted it, got some guards, and put them up there. But you didn't. And now it's made national news, and Mayor Gainey is upset with Rich Kupka. Well, you know what? I would have done the same thing Rich Kupka did, and I probably would. And I don't blame Rich Kupka, because you're going to hear the audio right now, because I couldn't get the video up, so you're going to hear the audio of the interview from Fox News with Rich Kupka, okay? Listen.
Drop in business.
The owner is now urging state lawmakers to empower city police and let them do their jobs. Pittsburgh business owner Rich Kupka joins us now. Rich, thanks for getting up with us. You know, it seems like in the last 3 years or so that crime has gotten pretty bad, in this past couple of years. What's going on?
Well, the administration isn't letting the police do their jobs. You have to let the police do their jobs, let the police police.
How tough is it right now to run a business on the south side of Pittsburgh?
Very difficult. Last year we had over 90 shootings. Over 20 people went to the hospital. in critical condition from Southside. And this year it's continuing.
You know, I was reading that you had to hire police officers, off-duty police officers, just to monitor the area and try and keep you guys safe 6 days a week. I'm sure that's not, you know, that's costing a pretty penny. But also, what made you decide? Did something in particular happen to your business to make you think I need police here to keep us safe?
Well, I haven't hired any police. The other end of Southside has. There's a 6-block area that is very bad in Southside between 12th and 18th Street. But the police, no matter how many you have down here, you could have 1,000 police down here. You could have a police station on every corner. If the police are not allowed to do their jobs, nothing will change.
Yeah, give us some examples of
There's no room for politics in public safety.
Yeah, give us some example of how the police are not able to do their jobs.
Well, in order for a patrolman to arrest somebody, he has to get the authorization of his supervisor currently. Pittsburgh City Council, they passed an ordinance against state law so that no one could be pulled over.
So you guys have been meeting with city leaders for a couple of years now. Are they just not doing anything about this? What are they saying to you?
Well, we've had over 30 meetings in the last 3 years, and nothing has changed. We just had they brought the state House reps in for a hearing in Southside a couple of days ago. There's 15 state reps, and they talked for about an hour. All the bureaucrats from Southside were talking to these people for about an hour, and nothing was accomplished. And they let us talk, you know, the business owners. And I told them basically what they said in the previous hour wasn't true. You know, it's just they were saying statistics that crime is down, which it isn't. It's because on paper crime is down because the police aren't allowed to do their jobs and arrest people.
Why are city leaders taking this attitude, do you think? It seems like you would want an area like South Pittsburgh to be bustling, a big business center where a lot of commerce can take place, visitors can go and have a good time. Why are they taking an attitude that allows the exact opposite to happen?
That's a great question. There's no time for social experiments with public safety, and that's exactly what's happened. We have juveniles that are shooting people on a Monday, and they're out of jail on Tuesday.
Okay, so a lot of this has to do with the DA's office too. So they're basically just arresting them and putting them right back on the streets.
Well, what the problem is, they closed down our juvenile detention center, Schumann, and there's no place to put these juveniles at. They're being arrested and let out the next day. And we've had murders, rapes. I mean, this is not only the juveniles know they could get away with this because they see what's going on TV. They know there's no consequences to their actions.
And if the cops aren't there, or the cops are there, but if the cops' hands are tied, you have to ask the question, where are the parents in this situation? This is mostly juveniles wreaking this havoc in your community. Where are the parents? And it's a question we ask in every single one of these segments. Hopefully we'll get an answer soon because our country's going downhill fast.
All right, Rich Chupka, thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
All right, that was Rich Kupka, who owns Kupka's Cafe on the South Side. Okay, I spoke to him on the phone this morning, and I just aired you the audio from the Fox News, okay, as to what he said on that interview. And now, and listen to this, everybody. Now, the Gainey administration is upset with him because he went on national TV and said that. Did you hear that? 3 years he's been beefing to the city of Pittsburgh and the officials here in the city of Pittsburgh in regards to what's going on the South Side. And they keep trying to hold it together, and it's not going to work. Bill Peduto, he lied, and I told you he lied. Everything that he said right there, everybody, I've been saying on this program for months. Am I wrong? No. Does everybody believe me? No, but maybe now you will. And maybe now you'll wake up and understand that what I'm saying is true. Okay? This is reality here. The city cops are a joke in the city of Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. I love you to death. I have friends that are on the police force. But when you have to call a supervisor to make an arrest, come on. What is going on here? Now, finally, I hear the Gainey administration wants to sit down and talk to the police about a new contract. What are you going to do? Kiss their butts some more and ask them to tie their hands behind their back and walk around with handcuffs on because they can't do anything? This is disturbing to me. And it should be to you as a taxpayer and to you as a citizen of the city. And if I'm with anybody, and I mean anybody that has any elements of common sense, which no one does, I'd vote everybody at city council right out now. I'd tell them to resign. I'd tell Mayor Gainey to step down. I'm sorry, Mayor. Me and the mayor are close friends. But I cannot tolerate when I hear things like this. Okay? And it makes national news. That's the interesting part about it. Now our city is embarrassing because now we have this problem. And it's not just there. It's when people come to visit the city and they walk through downtown and seeing all them homeless encampments down there. I beefed about this months ago on this program. And that's why I said tonight that this was going to be an epic program. Because now I have the proof is in the pudding, as they say, that I was right. Everybody, I was right when I said this. And was I right when I said nothing is being done and we live in a nothing society, and now we live in a society now that nobody cares? And this is another example, and it's a sad example in my eyes. And if you don't see it, you have problems. Okay? Violence in the city of Pittsburgh, and our city cops have to ask permission from a supervisor to make an arrest. And I'm a racist for making suggestions about the National Guard, about the FBI and the State Police Gang Task Force to come in here and sweep all neighborhoods. But I'm a racist. I didn't say yours, Devin. I said, and the proof is in the pudding right here. And you're going to tell me that I'm crazy because I said that the youth can go and sign up to work in a TV station and get experience at becoming something with themselves. And I get criticized for that. Well, back in the day, when I worked on the South Side, my boss told me, my white boss told me I wouldn't be nowhere nothing but a dishwasher. Well, you know what? That was then, this is now. Devin. Devin, do you understand now? And go ahead, keep sticking up for these people that want to defund the police. Keep on sticking up for these people that want to make it harder for a policeman. And when it happens to you, then you're going to say, oh, Ralph, you know what? You were right. Ralph, I should have watched your program. Okay? Just like I tell you about renter's insurance, it's not that expensive. Go get it, because I'm tired of hearing people complain they have no place to go, or they had to wait for the building to pay for the landlord doesn't care. The management company doesn't care. Nobody cares. I care. I care enough to tell you to go get renter's insurance so you don't have this problem. But you would rather spend your money on booze, on pot, and on drugs, and worrying about TikTok. And playing around on your cell phone. That's what you would rather worry about. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's why I was going like this throughout the entire audio, because I'm right. Everything he said is true. And I've been right for months. And the proof right there is in the pudding. And every show is epic because I make it epic. Okay? Why do you think I call myself Pittsburgh's forgotten son? The national media people say to me, why do you call yourself that, Ralph? We like you. I didn't say you. I said the people, the media in Pittsburgh, the upper class media, the KDKAs, the WJASs, and all these other stations that don't want me. You don't like what I have to say. You didn't like what Wendy Bell had to say. But guess what? We're right. And nobody wants to hear the truth. And nobody wants to hear it like it is in this town. Okay? And that, tonight, is the way I see it on that. Let's talk about scams for a minute here. You know, the railroad derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. You have people knocking on doors now, going around talking to people. Going around talking to people, okay, about they want to help them get some money. So you have to give them money or you have to do something here. And this is so bad now. And people don't pay no attention to this. And they get suckered into this so bad now that it's everywhere. It's all over the news. It's about, they give you preventive things, but nobody cares. Nobody listens. Nobody wants to know. Nobody wants this. Okay. But then a scam will happen and you get involved in it. You lose money, you lose time, you have to go through all this aggravation. And then what happens to you? I see you on the news crying and complaining. I do. I see you on the news crying and complaining. Okay. Don't be a victim of the scam artists in anywhere. Don't be a victim. Pay attention to what's going on with this, because I don't want to see you or anyone else get hurt by this. All right. And if you're stupid enough to believe something as that, if it's too good to be true, it isn't. Okay. It's that simple. It's not true at all. That's the way I see it tonight on that. Bad bridges. We got some more bad bridges in this town. The city has let this infrastructure go so bad that now we have another bridge down. And another one down. And another one down. Pretty soon you're going to not be able to drive anywhere in the city of Pittsburgh because you know why? All the bridges are closed. Because they're all bad because of what happened at the 9 Mile Run Bridge. Okay? There was no excuse for that at all. The state dropped the ball. The county dropped the ball. The city dropped the ball. Okay? Oh, Barack Obama years ago tried to get funding for infrastructure, and everybody turned it down. And you know, Barack Obama, to me, was a great president. I enjoyed Barack. I liked Barack Obama. You know why? Because he was smart. He was a smart guy who knew exactly what he was doing. Okay? He was the king of presidential, or, what they call executive orders. And that's fine. Because they all benefited everybody. Okay? Okay? So, for everyone to go out there and say Barack Obama was a bad president, he's the one that took out bin Laden. George W. Bush didn't do it. Okay? And he did a lot of good things when he was president. Our economy was good. We were at peace in most cases. And he didn't take no jive. Now we have a president who waits 6 years to shoot down a balloon that we're being spied on by the Chinese. Okay. And then on top of on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, we have an issue with now we had to shoot down some more stuff. So what that tells us is that our country is being there's an attempt to attack our country yet again. And guess where all of these balloons or all of these objects or all of these things that are being shot out of the sky, guess where they're at? Near where our nuclear weapons are supplied at. Alaska, North Dakota, Nebraska, Montana, all those places. Do you notice that's where they all are? That's why. And of course, this doesn't concern you because you're too busy worrying about getting high. You're too busy worrying about drinking, and you're too busy worrying about TikTok. And you're too busy worrying about playing your PlayStation and your Xbox, which I left out earlier. Okay. That is what the majority of society today is worried about. Nothing else. Do you realize our country is under a major attack here? Do you realize? Do you understand? Our country is under a big attack. And we have a weak president who finally decided to get the other two out of the sky immediately. He had opportunities to get the balloon out of there, but they were waiting to see what this balloon was all about. Oh, well, the Chinese told us that it's a weather balloon. If the Chinese told you to jump off a bridge, you're going to do that? Okay? I've heard stories many times about how we owe the Chinese a ton of money that haven't paid them. And now there's stories going around that they want to collect their debt, and the debt is they're going to take our country out. Okay? We got Russia. We got North Korea. We got everybody after us now. When Barack Obama was president, there was peace. And Donald Trump, which I tell you, I keep saying to everybody, I just didn't like the way he conducted himself as a president, acted like a third grader. But I did admire some of the things he did do. And one of them was he didn't take no jive from none of these other countries. Do you think the war in Ukraine would be going on right now? No. Because Trump had a leash on Putin. And I don't want to hear no more about nothing about, oh, well, here's all these businesses in Russia, and he has all this other stuff going on. I don't care. I don't care what he does with his business. Okay? Yeah, that's right. I don't care. He had Putin on a leash, didn't he? You know it and I know it. He had the Chinese leader on a leash, and he had the North Korean leader on a leash. You think a Chinese balloon would be flying around this country if Trump was president today? He'd blow China up and think nothing of it. Okay? But we got all these people. Oh, police can't do that. You can't talk like that. We can't shoot down that balloon. You got all these people out here, all these politicians that are weak. They have no idea what's going on, and you voted for them. Because I don't vote for weak leaders. The only one I did was Joe Biden. And I don't want Trump back in 2024 after what he did in January 6, 2021. And if you have no issue with that, if you have if you think that was right, then there's something wrong with you. Because they attacked our country. Our own people attacked our own Capitol building. Because they didn't like the idea of Biden being president. Well, that's too bad. Go get a life. That's the way I see it tonight. You know, I want to talk some more about city council here. Devin, There's a lady down there. I know her. She's very nice. Every time I go down there, she's there. She's like a magnet that sticks to something. It's like glue. Her name is Miss Brown. Lives up in the Hill District. Okay. There's several of these people. There's a guy that lives up here in my community here. He looks like Alice Cooper. He's there all the time too, and he speaks at every meeting. Every meeting that I've ever spoken at, he's been there. So is Miss Brown. And this is going back years now. When are you going to get a life? Explain that to me. Is your life that boring that you need to be down at city council every single Tuesday speaking? And I'm not talking about speaking. I'm talking about saying things. And you had the nerve to call me a racist. Okay? You're preaching to the choir when you're telling them about violence. But my idea sucks. That's what it is. My idea sucks. You didn't like my idea. You didn't like my idea. No, instead, you're the type that wants to speak down there and talk about programs and talk about how we need to have programs. No, you know what needs to happen? What the Fox News guy said that needs to happen to Rich Kupka. We need to start going after the parents. But not one of you have ever, but this one guy, the one that lives up in my area here, that's down there all the time talking, okay? He talks about some ridiculous thing about the apocalypse and all this other horse and whatever. I don't have time for that stuff. I wouldn't listen to it. Miss Brown, I understand your concern, okay? But what you keep sitting there going about programs and about this and about that. But why doesn't anybody say anything about the parents? Why am I the only one that in all talk shows in this town? Oh, well, they're afraid to say anything, so that's one story. Okay? But why? Why am I the only one that has to say something about parenting? And I've said this many times too. If you can't handle the child, don't make it. You see what I'm getting at? Okay? It's that simple. If you don't want to get caught drunk driving and go to jail and be tied up in legal, then don't drink and drive. If you don't want to go to jail for drugs, then don't sell drugs. Don't do drugs. It's all easy stuff, ladies and gentlemen, but nobody seems to realize that. No one. But I'm a racist because I said all city neighborhoods, which includes yours, Devin, wherever you live. Okay? All city neighborhoods. We have a little town here, a borough called McKees Rocks. Trouble there all the time. If I was mayor, I used to live in McKees Rocks. If I was mayor, I would do exactly what I said I was going to do. I'd be on the phone to the state police. I would be on the phone to the National Guard or with the governor to get the National Guard activated. I would close the town down and flush out all the drug dealers and the gangbangers. You want to get guns and drugs off the street, do what I had, my plan, and I'll guarantee it'll be gone because it's been done before. But see, no one remembers that because everybody's brain is freeze-dried or they don't have any brain left because they spent too much time doing the things that I've said before. All right? It was done by Mayor Sophie Masloff. She said, you might think I'm weak, but I called in, she did, and got rid of a big gang called the Law Gang. Yeah. They were terrorizing our city. They were terrorizing the East End. And she called in the FBI, the National Guard's Gang Task Force in Washington County, and she called the state police and got it done. Why is it so difficult to do this now? Because we're worried about what's happening before. We want to defund the police, but we don't have an answer as to what we're going to do without them. I have an answer. Just give everybody a gun and let them go out and shoot each other. You look at me the wrong way, I'm going to shoot you. No use having police. They don't do their job. You don't want them there. I have not heard one person who has said anything about defunding the police come up with an intelligent reason what they could do without the police. Not one. I don't get an email. Oh, I get emails and I get comments about me being racist, about me saying this and that about somebody. But as I said earlier, me and Rich Kupka were right, and you didn't believe it. You believe it now, and it made national, and that's nice. Because now Pittsburgh has egg on their face. Again. And again, and again, until somebody does something, and that person is you. Vote every one of these clowns out of city council. Oh, don't forget Ricky Burgess now, because Akari Mosley's running against Ricky Burgess. And Akari Mosley believes, just like I do, that we need to get these juveniles and put them in jail. But no, Ricky Burgess, he doesn't want it. Councilman Burgess, oh, I'm sorry, Reverend Burgess, Councilman Burgess, whatever Burgess he is, okay? All right? Who doesn't show up for what he's supposed to show up for, his functions, that he says he's going to be there and forgets, okay? Doesn't return an important phone call from somebody in regards to safety in buildings with the housing authority of the city of Pittsburgh, and he's on the board and don't return phone calls. Okay? This is your councilman in District 7. This is your councilman. This is the man who does these kind of things. And he has this arrogant attitude like his doo-doo don't stink. All right? Let me give you a little word of advice, Mr. Burgess. I'm sorry, Reverend Burgess, okay? All right? Reverend Burgess. Let me give you a little advice. Everybody's shit stinks. Excuse me for saying it that way. It all stinks. Everybody's. Yours included. I'm doing okay, Noel. Thank you for watching tonight. I appreciate it. Haven't heard from you in a while either, but it's good to have you back. I appreciate all the comments tonight. And I appreciate all those who watch the program. And I appreciate those who subscribe. So subscribe, and we'll get to 100 before the summer. I would like to do that, and I think it can be done. So call your friend, call your cousin, call somebody. All right. Oh, my. Wow. Boil water advisory in East. If you live like in Highland Park, Shady Side, Squirrel Hill, what you call Homewood, Bloomfield, Morningside, all these communities here. They have water buffaloes set up. You have a boil water advisory because the some kind of a electrical problem or something happened with the water pumps. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that you need to worry about that as well. Elizabeth Forward High School fire. Sad to hear about that. But you got a bunch of people saying that they don't think it's arson. Well, I do. You could have a disgruntled employee. You could have a student who didn't get good grades and failed or flunked. You could have a student who maybe didn't like the kids he was with there and decided, I'm going to torch the school so they don't have to go to school. And then you have these kids that don't like school. Maybe they did it. But for you to come on the news and say, and I quote, we don't think it's arson. Do you know that? How do you know that? How? Tell me. The fire was just what, Saturday night, last night? And already you're telling me you don't think it's arson? I think it could be. And maybe I might be right. But see, there's a difference between me and other media people, some other media people in this town. When I'm right, and I'll tell you I'm right. And when I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. There's a lot of media people in this town that will refuse to admit when they're wrong. I know some that are like myself, and that's my media friends. We all think the same. All right, that's the way I see it tonight. Southwest Airlines was in Capitol Hill this week to explain about last year and during the holidays when they blew it. Boy, did they blow it. I'm really surprised at Southwest Airlines because I actually thought Southwest Airlines was a decent airline that charged a small price but did everything right. But here, everybody else did everything right. But you. And now you're the one holding the basket. Okay? You have a lot of what they say, explaining to do. That's the way I see it on that. There's a report out that Pittsburgh restaurant and bars made more money last year than they made in 10 years. This is what they claim, despite the fact that they're still having problems finding workers, and that's a lot of these businesses and restaurants went under, and nobody cared, okay, that they go under, that they lose their livelihood, that they, nobody cares. Despite the fact they claim they had their best year in 10 years last year, 2022. Good for them. I'm happy for them. And that is the way I see it tonight. Thank you for watching. As always, we have a few announcements. Tomorrow night, Sports Corner, 8:30 p.m. Myself, Smoke, and Jim Frazier. We'll talk about the Super Bowl, bad call. We have all kinds of stuff to talk about. Where the Steelers are going to go for the rest of the season. We had Ray Fittipaldo on last Tuesday. He told us what's going on. I was scheduled to have Matt Vensel on this Tuesday for the Penguins, but he's unable to join us due to prior obligations. Okay. So it'll just be myself and Smoke and Jim Frazier tomorrow night at 8:30, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and also on Twitch. Also, don't forget Wednesday night, the same 4 platforms. Talking wrestling. We have a lot to talk about. 2 top 10s. Where are they now? And a whole lot more. And then Thursday night, 8 p.m., Blog Talk Radio, Sports and Wrestle Talk. Yes, indeed, 347-205-9631. We had over 600 people last week. All right, over 600. So it's getting better and better and better. National broadcast, Blog Talk Radio, 347-205-9631 is the number to listen to the show. Friday night, same number, same place, Blog Talk Radio, myself and Bruce Kessinger, 5 p.m. Friday, 347-205-9631, Blog Talk Radio, Sports, and we do a segment throughout the show called the External Bum Podcast. We talk about bums in all different types of sports. I think you'll enjoy the show. It's on for an hour. Bruce and I talk sports as well. But we come up with some external bums, and we'd like you to do the same thing. So don't forget to tune in. Put your comment in the comments section there on Blog Talk Radio's website during the show, and we'll be glad to get it up there and put in your external bums. All right. Saturday, 5 p.m., PCTV, Channel 21, Comcast, 47, Verizon Cable. Sports Corner, myself, Smoke, and Jim Frazier, TV edition as well. Thank you for watching The Way I See It. I'll see you next Monday, 7 p.m., right here on our 4 platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. And I want to thank everybody for their comments tonight. I appreciate it. Everybody have a great night, and please be safe.